Before I start this blastcast, let me first start by saying I don't hate Rare. I love Rare. They're one of the few companies out there that I think are really trying to give them the old 1-2, but I think they've been really hurt by corporate culture. And who do I really hate? Microsoft. I think Microsoft ruined Rare. I mean, I know it's not just Microsoft, but that's pretty much where the problem currently lies, is Microsoft's insane need to control everything. Again, let's not forget, okay, Bungie left Microsoft for more creative freedom. So, they still make better computers than Apple, though. I'll give them that one. You pricks. Holy crap! What happened to Sea of Thieves? Where is the game? Where the hell is the content? I know being a pirate means not every second of every day is filled with gold coins and adventure, but come on! There has to be more than this. Especially when you realize this is a fantasy world with krakens and skeletons waving around swords. You just turn on the game and all you hear is goddamn crickets. Rare Games made this. Rare! The same Rare that made Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye 007, Perfect Dark, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Star Fox Adventures, and so many more good games. Rare had a long, illustrious track record of making awesome content. Content that made my childhood suck a little less. Well, until Microsoft bought them out, that is. Because unfortunately, Rare also made Kinect Sports, which hilariously enough still sits at less than an 8 out of 100 on Metacritic. Oh, and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, you know, the Banjo-Kazooie 3 we were promised. You know, that Banjo-Kazooie game that also had a massive open world full of absolutely fucking nothing. But we're not talking about shitty Microsoft games, we're talking about Sea of Thieves. Rare's Sea of Thieves. Before we delve into the game, let's first take a gander at the history, shall we? The year was 1998 and Rare began production on a game called Project Dream. Don't bother searching for this game, it wasn't released. Well, actually it was, because it would go on to be titled Banjo-Kazooie. Project Dream set up rather nicely the idea of a video game involving pirates, and also the art style that would become synonymous with Rare as a development studio. Jump forward to the year 2014, and development of Sea of Thieves began, under the codename Athena. Like Rare was some kind of covert agency that did, like, I don't know, assassinations or something. Ironically enough, Athena wasn't originally a pirate-themed game. As time went on, the idea of an open-world pirates game molded itself with a good bit of promise. The art style, while cartoony, was unique enough to call itself an actual style. And hell, an open-world pirates game sounds awesome! Especially when it works so damn well for Black Flag, which I still think is the best pirates game and was unique enough to be considered an Assassin's Creed game. Anyway, the following year, Rare announced Sea of Thieves officially in June at Microsoft's Xbox press conference, and the next year, the actual gameplay was shown. Well, not really. Pretty much zero gameplay was actually shown, just a ship battle and a guy getting drunk, which, to be honest, should have been an indicator that they didn't really have any content to show. So the release date was set for 2017, but got pushed back to 2018, and when it finally came time for release, you all pretty much know what happened. There was virtually nothing to do, and the game was sparse, to say the least. And interestingly enough, apparently former Rare employees were outspoken before launch about its lack of content, saying they were vocal on the game being repetitive and shallow. Which, I mean, are really good descriptive words for Sea of Thieves. A game which Rare charged full price for, had less content in it than fucking Evolve. $60 for a shell of a game focusing solely on looks over substance. You know, like a Ubisoft game. Oh, Ubisoft, you will always be a punchline to me. The game consisted of multiplayer elements because, of course it did. You know, AAA studios are all like, bad linear games, even though, you know, God of War is really good. So you needed friends to play with you, and the whole point of the game was, drink grog and play the accordion? I'm not really sure. Well, there are also skeletons to fight. The only enemies in the game, but don't worry, there are different colored ones. My fucking god, there is nothing to do in this game. There is nothing to do in this game. You can spend literally an hour playing and you would have seen all Sea of Thieves has to offer. The real thieves here are the assholes charging full price for no content. And that's not even a joke, it's just true. Well, okay, it is kind of a joke, but not for the people who bought it! Now, why is all of this information important? Well, really it isn't. It just gives me a reason to point at a corporation and fling poo at them. But this information is important to me personally because I think it signals something rather ominous. I think corporations are trying to get in on the early access market, which, when you think about it, that's pretty dumb, being as it hasn't been as successful as Steam has ever wanted it to be, and every time a AAA publisher has done it in the past, it's blown up in their goddamn face. We all know how Evolve was the first example of a game shoved out to market with little to no content. The same game where the publisher assured the players there was more content to come. Later, Street Fighter would do the exact same thing, promising that the game would be whole, eventually. Then, Gearbox Software gets to outright market and publish an early access game in We Happy Few. And now Sea of Thieves with its empty world and promises of future content. To me, okay, that's a pattern of corporations trying their hand at making money off of thin air. Well, you just give me $60 and eventually you'll get your money's worth. Consumer, I assume, is stupid. And honestly, why the hell wouldn't they do that? Gamers pretty much let corporations walk all over them as it is. They've already shown they're willing to pay big bucks for promises. Just look at how much money DLC that isn't even made yet makes yearly. It's only smart to expect publishers to start doing this for entire fucking games. It's a good business move as well. What better way to make all the money than to charge for content that you don't have to spend money to make yet? It's actually rather brilliant if you think about it. The industry for years has been fawning over the idea of having less games that gamers play for longer periods of time. And they can do that so long as they roll out the actual game slow as hell. They get you with the unrepresentative trailer footage at E3, hype it up so jackass crybabies online send death threats No Man's Sky style, and then hook you into a commitment using your hard-earned money. Think about it, are you really going to toss away a $60 commitment? Fuck no, you're gonna keep coming back for months whenever there's an update. Because that's the whole point of an early access game. The only difference here is it's a multi-billion-dollar game publisher that should be releasing whole games. And yes, I'm arguing here and now that early access should only be for small publishers, because in terms of scale, smaller publishers benefit from a slower rollout. Big companies don't need it. With a small studio, you can sell a promise, usually cheaper than $60, and it's a fantastic way to make your money for the cost of development. AAA companies are already worth billions and don't need to be fed funding. Street Fighter was panned hard until it was fixed with a full release. Evolve is nowhere to be found now because it was so fucking boring everyone stopped playing. And you can bet Sea of Thieves gets to take a beating now because who the fuck hasn't asked for their money back yet? Buy it from Steam and you can get a full refund so long as you play less than 2 hours of the game. And with Sea of Thieves, that's easy. There's really no game to be played. Half an hour of boredom and you get your money back and you go buy, I don't know, a good game like Darkest Dungeon. If AAA game companies want to sell us early access games, then maybe they should pull their heads out of their asses and sell them for early access price. Look at Subnautica for Christ's sakes. Subnautica had shit tons more content in early access than Sea of Thieves had on release. And Subnautica was made basically by one guy in a garage. Sea of Thieves was made by a professional game development company that's been making games since the 80s and has a staff of over 200 people. Look, with the industry actively seeking the death of single-player games and wanting to make more money off of less content, you really have to be more careful when buying these games. There is no real protection against false advertising in gaming, and the corporations that participate in this market know that. They will sell you lies and will steal your money because no one tells them no. And a lot more people today see it and point it out, but it doesn't make it any more okay. So with no hesitation at all, I would like to formally tell Microsoft to go to hell, and any other corporation that thinks they can charge full price for half a game. Also, you guys should go pick up God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn with the money you got back after refunding Sea of Thieves. You know, they're more worth your time.